It's only a bunch of old men riding around a fucking field. Let's not get too carried away. So welcome to episode 349 of DocWob TV. Feels like that today. So this episode I'm going to show you a couple of little bits we got going on in the workshop. This here, believe it or not, is a project we got going on for Kurt Nicoll. Fitting some triple clamps, I'll show you that in a little bit. I'm going to show you how we fit swing arm bearings today. We showed you steering bearings last episode, and we'll show you linkage bearings next episode. So we'll show you the swing arm bearings today, and also we've got a new project, or two new projects on build. I'll show you those in a few minutes, and they're going to be uber trick, believe me, very nice. So in the workshop right now, we've started the build. We're actually a bit further on than we normally are, with a couple of Chesterfield builds. One's going to be a white Chesterfield 1993. The other one's going to be a black Chesterfield 1994, both YZ250s. So the frames are done. They've been repaired. The skid plates are on them, powder coated black, ready to go. Wheels are built. SM Pro hubs. Ollie Benton from Ceramax Cerakoted them, the magnesium looking bronze colour. We've had special made discs they're the right size and the right shape for the year, but these were so expensive, they're retarded, we couldn't sell them. So that's the wheels. We've got the alley tanks, we've got the cone pipes, and the coolest thing about these is they've got Ohlins forks and shocks. Now on the 94, it's going to be upside down forks, the same as we raced with Mike Brown and Tedesco and all those other guys at Farleigh back in the day, because he wants to race it at Fox Hill, so that's good. He's got an entry, lucky boy. The 93 is having conventional Ohlins, which is the bollocks, and I'm almost hoping nobody buys it because I want it myself. So this is a race bike for VMXDM Fox Hill. It's having the cylinder is off to be ground and ported by Mitch Payton. The subframe's been modified to lower the back end a little bit for its rider, so we're still ploughing on. The bike was finished for Telford, but there's a couple of little things that needed finishing off, so we've still got to put the right springs in for him and just tick a few boxes, but right now it's somewhere near. So this one is a project. Kurt Nicoll contacted me, had his brother Aaron send me some bits and pieces. These clamps came from Kurt in California. He wants to run a Ohlins fork in his KX500 that he's going to race this summer. So they sent us the clamps. It's not going to be easy. We were talking about the steering stops, but the clamps he sent us were the kit fork clamps. So yeah, we're gonna have to weld something on the frame to work with like the KTM steering stops. The biggest problem with fitting anything to a KX500 frame is the top steering bearing so small. The bottom one's normal diameter, no problem, but the top's so small, which means the spindle's so small. So there's no way we could have used the KTM steering stem. We had to run the KX500 steering stem, so we managed to get that in the right position height-wise to work. So that's the first job. This frame isn't Kurt's. This frame is one we had in a Bikers and Bits. Kurt just wants the clamps. So what we're going to have to do is, so we've got this, so it runs good. It runs the standard KX500 steering bearings. It's a 21mm offset, so that'll work well. We're machining up a new lock nut that goes in there. That's on the machine to be done. We're going to have to make a spacer for this here, which is okay because we can split it for the smaller diameter on the stem. At the moment it's like a cock in a shirt sleeve, so that will be modified. Once that works, then we're going to have to make a piece of steel to send to Aaron to weld on for the steering stops, because the steering stops on these clamps are here, not on the front for the steel frame. So we're going to have to manufacture that, get one made. So that's where we're at. So this is the standard Kawasaki, our steering stem nut, which goes on, but she's crazy. It's way too thick. So we're going to have to get that machine down a little bit. Obviously there'll be a dust seal on there. So we'll have to get this one machine down a little bit for the right depth on there. At the moment she's a little bit thin. We will anodize these clamps black for him, so it will look a little bit more era correct. So swing arm bearings, necessary evil. You should be taking these out and greasing them all the time, but I know you don't. So once they start getting knackered, you need to replace. This swing arm is a replacement for one of the Chesterfield bikes because they're so fucked. Sorry, they're not very nice when you take them apart. There's no good surprises, let's just say that. So we bought this one as a buy-in part. I'll show you how to take the bearings out of it. And then we've got another swing arm which has already been blasted and half prepared to build. And I'll show you the installation on that. So do you want to start now or do you want to edit that bit out? So back in the day we used to use 2 sockets and just push them out through the vise. It's a bit of a ball ache, so now we've got the Motion Pro bearing installer and I'm going to use it with a socket to see if we can remove the bearings by pushing them out. So basically we'll push that in there, put the nut on there, I reckon that should pop the bearings out. Nope, not yet. All it's done is push the bearings together. It's all right. This is a slow way of doing this.
Man in this garage can do it.
Yeah. It's messy doing it in the vise because you're trying to hold 2 sockets and do the vise up, and it's not an easy way of doing it. So that's one side of the bearings out. It's quite time consuming using this tool, I've got to tell you, but the other way, which is 2 sockets in a vise, it's a 2-man job. 2 of you got to hold it, 1 of you got to do it up, and it's like, actually tool works good. So this is an installer tool, so we'll now use it to install the bearings and show you how to do that. So this is the swing arm for one of the Chesterfield bikes. I showed you the one earlier, that's now going to go for paint strip and all the other stuff. This one's kind of ready to go. So this swing arm, you can see we've already removed the brake carrier because we're going to run a bigger back brake. Martin the welder's filled in any big holes. The thread there was threaded, so fill it back full of weld, we'll grind it back. So now this is ready to go for fluff and buff. Jack this morning blasted the cast section, which is the front section, heavy with actually sandblast. That's the finish we like. So we'll put the bearings in this, and then it can go to be polished, the extruded section. Let me show you how to put the bearings in. It's really easy. Take your bearing. Now on a bearing, there's writing on one side and not the other. The right side is thicker, so that's the side you should always push your bearings into. So you get your bearing, rest it in there. Get your bearing tool with your right size. Now the trick is to know how far through to pull them. So you just wind it up, and then that'll pull the bearing into place. You don't want to go all the way down till it bottoms out, because that's where your seal sits. So once you've gone a little way, take it out and have a look. Quite a bit further to go, yeah. Don't know if I should be talking through all this, but I don't know what to tell you really. Just winding the bearing and it can't be that hard. So that's in good enough. Second bearing. Writing side. This one needs to go flush. It's quite a fiddly, tricky job, but they always are, these things. But in fairness, this tool means you can do it on your own, which is unusual. This is usually a 2-man job. And she goes, and this one goes in just below flush. That's your steering bearings in, nicely spaced. Now we've got to get this horrible seal. Any grease there, Tom? Loads of grease. And the bush goes in through the seal. Then your thrust washers, so plain thrust washer first. What do you call that, copper something? I always put the yellow pointing in. I don't know if that's right or not, nobody's ever told me otherwise. Thrust washer, and then your cap. Didn't grease them, did I? Done like a old job. And then a bit of grease around the inside lip. And that should all push into place. There you go, thrust washers in the cap, cap over the swing arm, which is done. Rinse and repeat the other side. So that's it for swing arm bearings. It's not the most interesting thing I've ever done in my life, but I've done them a few times in my years. So using the Motion Pro tool just works well to push them in and pull them out on your own. Just plenty of grease, clean them up and make sure they're looked after. And you know, this is the central pivot point of your bikes. The whole thing's working around these bearings, so they've got to be clean, they've got to work well. Bit of play in there and the whole bike starts to feel like a fucking jingle jangle piece of shit. So it's best that it's nice. So that's it for this week. I need to go and have a sit in a dark room somewhere before I can show you how to do the linkages next time.